Should I buy a home in 2026? It's a question I hear all the time. And I'm almost at the point I think I'm going to redo this video every year because it's one of the most popular questions that I get. And so, disclaimer, like, I'm a real estate agent, right? And so I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, yeah, of course you're going to say that you should buy a home in 2026. Well, let's talk about some reasons why you should or shouldn't buy a home in 2026. And I'm going to keep this a little focused on North Idaho, but a lot of this will actually cover across the country. Why should someone buy a home? Well, it's a great way to build equity if you have not purchased a home. I do the numbers all the time with first-time home buyers. And, any money that you're paying into rent, you're not going to recapture. And a mortgage, while some of it does go to the bank for interest rates and things like that, a mortgage is essentially you each month putting some money into a piggy bank we call equity. Equity is the difference between what you owe on a home and what the home is valued at. So if you owe $300,000 and your home is valued at $400,000, you've got $100,000 in equity. If you already own a home, why should you buy? And there's a whole nother, we could get into that. But let's keep this video about new home buyers and should they buy. And I've talked to a lot of people that have been on the fence. Prices are too high. Interest rates are too high. Right now, we're kind of doing a little dance right around that 6% on interest rates. And I don't see a lot of stuff out there that says that interest rates are going to go much lower. We've heard that the government is attempting to do some dances, make some things happen. Will that happen? Probably not. I don't foresee that to take place. It might go down. We might simmer somewhere in the high fives, which is fantastic. But again, each month that you're paying rent, you're now putting money into someone else's pocket and building their piggy bank or equity. But one key distinction that rings true every time I've crunched the numbers is if you're not going to be in a place for more than 3 years. So maybe you move there for a big job, or you're moving from one state to another state, and you're not sure whether Post Falls or Coeur d'Alene or Rathdrum is where you want to be. If you're not sure that you're going to be in a place for 3 years, do not buy. Period. It's much smarter to continue to rent because it takes about 3 years on average markets for you to recoup that money. Now, let's say you're just getting out of college, you saved up some money, you've got a good credit score, and you're thinking about buying, and you know you're going to be in that area for 5, 7, 30 years, whatever that is. I definitely think that this year is going to be a good time to buy. I do see housing prices, housing values about flatline this year, meaning probably gain about 5% interest. Which if you calculate that out on a $500,000 home, you're looking at like $25,000 that you're going to build in that big piggy bank equity, not even included the money that you're putting in there in the mortgage. So this time next year, February 2027, you're going to have appreciated about 5%. I think that's pretty safe to say that's about what we should see appreciation. The other thing that you got to factor in is whether or not I tell all my buyers, like, have a monthly budget in mind, okay? So if you're comfortable paying $3,500 a month towards your mortgage, when you go to the bank and get pre-approved, tell them that's what you want. You might get pre-approved for $700,000, but that $3,500 might get you, depending on what your down payment is and your interest rates, that might get you about $500,000. And stick to that budget because The quickest way to create the water heater breaking is to spend all of your money. Now, the last thing that I'm going to cover here about whether or not you should buy in 2026 is what people tend to think about what the prices are going to do in the future. And very typically, now I've shared with you that I think it's going to gain 5%. Very typically, when I'm talking to people, especially if they've lived in an area for a long time and seen these prices just go. Some people lived through 2009 and they feel like this bubble is going to burst, and they don't want to be caught with sitting on something that is upside down. And to that I say two things. One, I don't see that we're in a bubble. There's nothing about this. We're right on the trend lines that we've seen. We've had good steady growth over the last 40 years. There was a bubble in 07. It crashed, and therefore 09 happened. But since then, that went down, and we've slowly come back up to where our trend line is over the 40 years. So I do not see that happening. Secondly, even when you look back at the 09 crash, if you had bought in 07, and I think this is a great way to put this, any place, anywhere that you're in the United States right now, if it's a healthy market, you ask anybody if they feel they should have bought a house in 07, or anybody that did buy a house in 07, even though you went through 09, if your house has appreciated since 07, and the answer is 1,000% yes. And so even if for some reason some kind of monkeypox, bird flu breaks out in South Africa and our market is affected by that and it crashes and home prices lose 25%, if you're in a house for an average of 7 years and you stay in that house for 7 years, you're going to recover. And again, that whole time, you're just putting money into that piggy bank, right? So the home values might dip a little bit. I just don't see that. But if you're like the average, and most people stay in a home for about 7 years, you're going to ride that wave out. It's a slow process of gaining money, but sometimes that's the best way to gain money or to build financial health is the slow and steady ways. And you ask most economists, real estate is one of the best investments that you can go for. So if you need help in North Idaho buying a house, give me a jingle. I'm happy to help you out, get some lenders, get on track, get the right path, or just explore what that would look like, right? Are you ready? I don't know. But we can definitely have a consultation, discuss what the home buying process looks like, and get you started on the path to freedom. BK knows the way.